if A, you hated the dog, or B, because you were a loony person, or C, because you wanted to make Mrs. Shears sad. I don't know anyone who didn't like Wellington, so if it was A, it was probably a stranger. I don't know any lunatics either, so if it was B, it was probably also a stranger.
Right.
But most murders are committed by someone known to the victim. In fact, you are most likely to be murdered by a member of your own family on Christmas Day.
Is that a fact?
Yes, actually, it is a fact. Wellington was therefore most likely murdered by someone known to him. The only person I know who didn't like Mrs. Shears was Mr. Shears, who divorced Mrs. Shears to go live somewhere else, and who knew Wellington very well indeed. That means Mr. Shears is my prime suspect.
Christopher.
I'm going to find out more about Mr. Shears.
No one at the school has ever taken their A-level examinations before.
Oh, you can be first then.
I don't think we have the facilities to allow Christopher to do this.
Then get the facilities.
I can't treat Christopher differently from any other student.
Why not?
Because then every student would want to be treated differently.
So?
It would set a precedent. Christopher can always take his A-level examinations later, when he's 18, which is, after all, when everyone else takes their A-levels.
Christopher's getting a rather crap enough deal without you shitting on him from a great height as well, don't you think? This is the one thing he is really good at.
We should talk about this later, maybe on our own?
Oh, is there something you're embarrassed to say to me in front of Christopher?
No, it's not that.
Say it now, then.
If Christopher were to do this, he would be a member of the staff, a supervisor, looking after him in a separate room on his own.
I'll pay for it. We can do it after school. There. Here's 50. That enough?
Mr. Boone.
I'm not taking no for an answer. Where have you been?
I've been out.
I just got a phone call from Mrs. Shears. What are you doing poking around in her garden?
I was doing detective work trying to find out who killed Wellington.
How many times do I have to tell you, Christopher? Keep your nose out of other people's business.
I think Mr. Shears probably killed...
Not hear that name spoken in my house!
Why not?
That man is evil.
Does that mean that he could have been the person who killed Wellington?
Jesus wept. Okay. Christopher, I'm going to say this for the last and final time. I will not repeat myself. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Look at me. You are not to go asking Mrs. Shears who killed her bloody dog. You're not to go asking anyone who killed that bloody dog. You are not to go poking around and trespassing in other people's gardens. You are to drop this stupid, bloody detective game right now. I'm going to make you promise, Christopher. You know what it means when I make you promise.
I think I would make a very good astronaut.
Yeah, mate, you probably would.
To be a good astronaut, you have to be intelligent. And I'm intelligent. You also have to understand how machines work. And I'm good at understanding how machines work.
You also have to be someone that will like being on their own in a tiny spacecraft, thousands and thousands of miles from the surface of the Earth, and not get scared or claustrophobic or insane. And I like little spaces, so long as there's no one else in them with me.
Yeah, so I've noticed.
Sometimes, when I want to be on my own, I get into the laundry room and slide in beside the boiler and pull the door closed behind me and sit there and think for hours. And it makes me feel very calm
So I would have to be an astronaut on my own, or have my own part of the spacecraft that no one else could come into. And there are no yellow things or brown things in a spacecraft, so that would be good too. And I would have to talk to people from mission control, but we would do that through a radio link-up and television monitor, so it wouldn't be like talking to real people who were strangers, but it would be like playing a computer game.
Would you like?
And I'd be surrounded by lots of things that I like, which are machines and computers and outer space. And I could look out the little window of the spacecraft and know that there was no one else near me for thousands and thousands and thousands.
Could you give it a bit of a break, mate? Please.
And know that there was no one else near me for thousands and thousands of miles, which is what I sometimes pretend at night. In the summer, when I go and lie on the lawn and look up at the sky and put my hands around the sides of my face so I can't see the fences and the chimney and the clothesline, and I can pretend I'm in space. And all I could see would be stars. And stars are the places where the molecules that life is made of were constructed billions of years ago. For example, all the iron in your blood, which stops you from being anemic, was made in a star. And I would like it if I could take Toby with me into space. And that might be allowed because they sometimes do take animals into space for experiments. So if I could think of a good experiment you could do with a rat that didn't hurt the rat, I could make them let me take Toby. But if they didn't let me, I would still go. Because it would be a dream come true.
Father said.
I see. That's a pity.
So the book is finished.
Well, Christopher, I think if your father told you to stop, he probably had a good reason, and I think you should stop. But you can still be very proud of what you've written so far because, well, it's just great.
It's not a proper book.
Why not?
It doesn't have a proper ending. I never found out who killed Wellington. So the murderer is still at large.
Not all murders are solved, and not all murderers are caught.
Father said that Mr. Shears was an evil man. Maybe that meant he was the person who killed Wellington.
I think you should do what your father tells you to do.
I'm going to find out more about Mr. Shears. I don't do chatting. I don't like it.
I don't suppose you do. Do you like computers?
Yes, I like computers.
I know. I can see you sitting at your computer in your bedroom when I look across the street.
And I like maths and looking after Toby. And I like outer space. And I like being on my own.
I'll bet you're really good at maths, aren't you?
I'm taking my A-level maths next month. And I'm going to get an A star.
Ooh, A-level maths, really?
I'm the first person at my school to do A-level maths. Because it's a special school. All the other children at my school are stupid. Except I'm not meant to call them that, even though that is what they are.
Well, I'm very impressed, and I hope you do get an A star.
I will.
And the other thing I know about you is your favourite colour is not yellow.
No, and it's not brown either. I like red and metallic color. Do you know Mr. Shears?
Well, not really. I don't know much about him, just enough to say hello. I think he works at the National Westminster Bank in town. Yeah.
Father said that he was an evil man. Do you know why he said that?
Well, I think it would be best not to talk about these things, Christopher.
Why not?
Because I think your father is right. You shouldn't go around asking questions.
Why?
Because obviously he's going to find it very upsetting.
Why is he going to find it very upsetting?
I think you know why your father doesn't like Mr. Shears.
Did Mr. Shears kill Mother?
Kill her?
Yes, did he kill her?
No, of course he didn't kill your mother.
But did he give her stress so that she died of a heart attack?
I don't know what you're talking about, Christopher.
Or did he hurt her so that she had to go into hospital?
Did she have to go into hospital?
Yes. And it wasn't very serious at first, but she had a heart attack when she was in hospital.
Oh dear.
And died.
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, I'm so sorry, Christopher. I have no idea.
Why did you say, I think you know why your father doesn't like Mr. Shears very much?
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Christopher, why don't we take a little walk in the park? This is not the place to be talking about these things. I'm going to tell you something, and you have to promise not to tell your father I told you.
Why?
Just trust me. Your mother, before she died, was very good friends with Mr. Shears.
I know.
No, Christopher, I don't think you do. I mean, she was very good friends. Very, very good friends.
Do you mean that they were doing sex?
Yes, that is exactly what I mean.
Was that why Mr. Shears left Mrs. Shears? Because he was doing sex with someone else?
I expect so, yes.
I have to go now.
Ooh, I didn't mean to upset you, Christopher. Are you all right?
I can't be on my own with you because you are a stranger.
I'm not a stranger, Christopher. I'm a friend.
Have you told your father about this?
No.
Are you going to tell your father about this?
No.
Did it make you sad to find out?
Find what out?
Did it make you sad to find out that your mother and Mr. Shears were having an affair?
No.
Are you telling the truth?
Yes, I always tell the truth. It didn't make me sad because Mother is dead, so I would be feeling sad about something that isn't real and doesn't exist. And that would be stupid.
What was your mother like? Do you remember much about her?
I remember September 20th, 2012. I was 9 years old. We were on holiday in Cornwall. We were on a beach called Palpero. Mother was wearing denim jeans and a stripy blue swimming costume. And she was smoking menthol cigarettes, which were mint flavored. Although she wasn't swimming, she was sunbathing on a towel which had red and purple stripes. And she was reading a book by Georgette Heyer called The Masqueraders. Then she finished sunbathing and went into the water a little ways. And Mother said,
Bloody Nora, it's cold!
Bloody Nora, it's cold. And she said I should come and swim too, but I didn't like swimming because I don't like taking my clothes off. So she said I should just roll my trousers up a little ways. So I did, and walked into the water. And Mother said,
Christopher, look, it's lovely!
and she jumped backwards into the water. And I thought a shark had eaten her, and I screamed, "Ah! Ah! 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 Ah!" And she came over to where I was standing and held out her right hand and spread out her fingers like a fan.
Come on, Christopher, touch my hand! Come on, now stop screaming, touch my hand! Listen to me, Christopher, it's okay, you can do it! It's okay! It's okay! There aren't any sharks in Cornwall.
When we got into the park, Mrs. Alexander turned to her and said, I'm going to tell you something, Christopher, but you have to promise not to tell your father I told you. Your mother, before she died, was very good friends with Mr. Shears.
And other times, she used to say,
if I hadn't married your father, I think I'd be living in a little farmhouse in the south of France with someone called Duncan. Or maybe a local handyman, doing painting and decorating for people, gardening, building fences. And we'd have a French bulldog and a veranda with figs growing over it. And there'd be a field of sunflowers at the bottom of the garden and a little village with a hill in the distance. And in the evening, we'd sit outside and drink red wine, smoke French cigarettes, and watch the sun go down.
What's this?
it's a book I'm writing.
Is it true? Did you talk to Mrs. Alexander?
Yes?
Jesus, Christopher, how stupid are you? What did I say, Christopher?
Not to go around trespassing into other people's gardens, and not to go asking Mrs. Shears about who killed that bloody dog, and to stop this stupid bloody detective game. Except I haven't done any of those things. I was just asking Mrs. Alexander about Mr. Shears because I was doing chatting.
Don't give me that bullshit! I read the book, remember? You knew exactly what you were bloody doing. What else did I tell you, Christopher?
I don't know.
Come on, memory man! Not to stick your nose in other people's business. What do? You're sticking your nose in other people's business. You're just going around digging up the past and sharing it with every Tom, Dick, and Harry you come across. What am I going to do with you, Christopher? What the fuck am I going to do with you?
I wasn't doing detective work. I was just asking...
One thing, Christopher! I asked you to do one thing for me!
I just was asking...
Don't fight! Drink. I'm very sorry I hit you. I didn't mean to. I love you very much, Christopher. Don't ever forget that. I worry about you because I don't want you to get into trouble, because I don't want you to get hurt.
Where's my book?
Christopher, do you understand that I love you?
Is it in the dustbin at the front of the house?
The next day, when I got home from school, Father was still at work. So I went outside and looked inside the dustbin, but the book wasn't there. I wondered if Father had put it into his van and driven to the dump and put it into one of the big bins there. But I did not want that to be true because then I would never see it again. One other possibility was that Father had hidden my book somewhere in the house. So I decided to do some detecting and see if I could find it. I started by looking in the kitchen. Then I detected in the laundry room. Then I detected in the dining room. Then I detected in the living room, where I found the missing wheel from my Airfix Messerschmitt BF109G-6 model under the sofa. Then I went upstairs. But I didn't do any detecting in my own room, because I reasoned that Father wouldn't hide something from me in my own room unless he was being very clever and doing what is called a double bluff, like in a real murder mystery novel. So I decided to look in my own room only if I couldn't find the book anywhere else. I detected in the bathroom, but there was only one place to look in the medicine, and that was in the medicine cabinet, and there was nothing there. Which meant the only room left to detect in was Father's bedroom. I started by looking under the bed. There were 5 shoes and a comb with lots of hair in it, and a monkey wrench, and a chocolate chip cookie, and a magazine called Men Only, and a pair of underpants from TJ Maxx with a little bit of pee left in them, and a Scooby-Doo tie, and a wooden spoon, but not my book. Then I looked in the drawers on either side of the dressing table, but these only contained aspirin and nail clippers and batteries and dental floss, tissues, and a spare false tooth and a tampon. But my book wasn't there either. Then I looked in his wardrobe. In the bottom of the wardrobe was a large plastic toolbox, which was full of DIY for tools, which meant doing it yourself. But I could see these without looking because the box was made of transparent gray plastic. Then I saw there was another box underneath the toolbox. The other box was an old cardboard box that is called a shirt box because people used to buy shirts in them. And when I opened the shirt box, I saw my book was inside it. Then I heard Father's band pulling up outside the house, and I knew that I had to think fast and be clever. I heard Father shutting the door of the van. And that is when I saw the envelope. It was an envelope addressed to me, and it was lying under my book in the shirt box with some other envelopes. I picked it up. It had never been opened. It said,
Christopher Booth, 36 Randolph Street, Swindon, Wiltshire.
Then I noticed there were lots of envelopes, and they were all addressed to me. And this was interesting and confusing. And then I noticed how the words Christopher and Swindon were written. They were written like this.
Christopher Swindon.
I only know 3 people who do little circles instead of dots over the letter I. And one of them is Siobhan, and one of them was Mr. Loxley, who used to teach at the school. And one of them was Mother.
Oh, Christopher. So what have you been up to today, young man?
Today we did life skills with Siobhan, which is using money in public transport. And for lunch, I had tomato soup and 3 apples. And then in the afternoon, I did maths. And then we went for a walk in the park with Mrs. Peters to collect leaves for collages.
Excellent, excellent. So, what do you fancy for chow tonight?
Baked beans and broccoli.
I think that can be very easily arranged. Now, I'm going to want to put up that shelf in the living room. Going to be a little bit noisy, I'm afraid. So if you want to watch TV, we'll have to shift it upstairs.
Okay, I'll go be on my own in my room.
Good man.
So I went into my room, and when I was in the room, I shut the door and took out the envelope. I opened the envelope. Inside there was a letter, and this what was written in the letter.
451C, Chapter Road, London, NW2 5NG, 02088878907. Dear Christopher, I was looking through some old photographs last night, which made me sad. But then I found a photograph of you playing with the